United States permits over 10,000 food additives in its supply. The European Union approves fewer than 400. That gap isn't a bureaucratic quirk. It is the reason why the same brand, the same logo, the same packaging is made with entirely different ingredients depending on which side of the Atlantic you're standing on. The companies know exactly what they're doing. They already make the cleaner version. They just don't sell it to you. Skittles, Mars. For years, Skittles sold in the United States contained titanium dioxide, a whitening agent also used in paint and sunscreen. The EU banned it from food in 2022 after the European Food Safety Authority concluded it could no longer be considered safe, citing evidence that nanoparticles of the compound are absorbed into the body and have the potential to damage DNA. Mars, the parent company, had already removed it from the European formulation years before that. The US version kept it anyway. It took consumer pressure, a wave of media coverage, and a California bill for Mars to finally phase it out of the American product by end of 2024, 2 full years after Europe acted. Same candy, different standard. You were the lower standard. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and Fruit Loops. Kellogg's has been putting breakfast on American tables since 1906. Tony the Tiger has been on the Frosted Flakes box since 1952. What the box doesn't advertise is the preservative BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene, which the EU banned over concerns about endocrine-disrupting properties and links to cancer in animal studies. Kellogg's removed BHT from its European and Japanese cereal formulations entirely. The US version still carries it. Fruit Loops follow the same pattern. The vibrant artificial dyes, red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, that color every piece require a warning label in the EU reading that the product may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. In Europe, Kellogg's uses natural colorings derived from paprika and fruit instead. In America, it uses petroleum-derived dyes and skips the warning. The cereal is the same product. The ingredient list is not. Mountain Dew/PepsiCo brominated vegetable oil, BVO, is a synthetic compound created by bonding vegetable oil to bromine, the same element used in flame retardants. The EU banned it in 2008. The UK banned it in 1970. The FDA kept it on its provisional approval list for over 50 years, officially designating it acceptable while research flagged its potential to accumulate in body tissue and damage the thyroid and nervous system. For decades, it was a listed ingredient in Mountain Dew, Gatorade, Powerade, and dozens of other citrus-flavored drinks sold in American stores. PepsiCo and Coca-Cola began removing it under consumer pressure around 2013 to 2014, long after Europe had moved on. The FDA did not formally ban BVO until 2024. Europe beat that call by 16 years. Pop-Tarts, Kellanova. Pop-Tarts are an American breakfast institution on shelves since 1964 and consumed by tens of millions each year. The EU and UK have long prohibited red dye number 3, erythrocene, the synthetic colorant that gives certain Pop-Tart varieties their pink and red tones. Red 3 has been banned from cosmetics in the United States since 1990, when the FDA's own research found it caused cancer in animals. It remained in food anyway, legally, for another 35 years. The FDA finally banned it from food in January 2025, giving manufacturers including Kellanova until 2027 to reformulate. Europe made this call decades ago. The US let it sit in your morning pastry until this year. Coffee Mate, Nestlé. Coffee Mate is the best-selling non-dairy creamer in the United States. Denmark banned it, so did Austria, Hungary, Norway, Iceland, and Switzerland. The reason is partially hydrogenated oils, the primary source of artificial trans fats, which the World Health Organization has called for global elimination, linking them to raised LDL cholesterol, lowered HDL cholesterol, heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. The EU set a hard limit on trans fats in food in 2019. The original Coffee Mate formulation blew past that limit. Nestlé already made a trans fat-free version for European markets. For years, the company sold the higher-risk version in the US under the same brand name. One creamer, two formulas. One of them wasn't for you. Subway azotic carbonamide in bread. Azotocarbonamide, known as ADA or less formally as the yoga mat chemical, is a compound used in the manufacturing of foamed plastics and rubber shoe soles. It is also a dough conditioner that makes bread rise higher and whiter. The EU banned it from food. Australia banned it. When it breaks down during baking, it forms semicarbazide, a compound linked to lung and blood cancers in animal studies. The FDA approved it for use in U.S. flour at up to 45 parts per million. In 2014, a food blogger's petition revealed that Subway's U.S. bread contained ADA across nearly its entire menu, while its European stores used none. Subway removed it after more than 50,000 people signed the petition. The FDA did not require the change, the public did. Subway's European customers had never encountered it at all. U.S. dairy, RBST growth hormone. In 1993, the FDA approved recombinant bovine somatotropin, RBST, a synthetic growth hormone injected into dairy cows to increase milk output by 10 to 15%. The EU banned it, Canada banned it, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, and Israel all banned it. The United States remains the only developed nation where the public routinely consumes milk from RBST-treated cows. The hormone's known side effects in cattle include increased rates of mastitis, udder infection, and reproductive problems, which in turn require higher antibiotic use. Scientific committees in both Canada and the EU raised concerns about elevated levels of IGF-1, a growth factor in treated milk with a suggested link to certain cancers in humans. None of that triggered a U.S. ban. RBST labeling is not required. You have no way of knowing if it's in the milk, cheese, yogurt, or ice cream you bought today, unless the label specifically says otherwise. Pillsbury/baked goods, potassium bromate. Potassium bromate has been used in commercial baking since 1916. It strengthens dough, makes bread rise higher, and produces a cleaner white crumb. The International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies it as a possible human carcinogen. Canada banned it, the EU banned it, China banned it. California listed it as a known carcinogen under Proposition 65 in 1991 and banned it outright in 2023. The FDA asked companies to voluntarily remove it from recipes in 1991, 34 years ago, and then declined to mandate anything. It remains legal in American commercial baking today. The FDA is currently, as of 2025, gathering data on whether action is warranted. The rest of the developed world gathered that data and acted a generation ago. Here is the pattern underneath all of this. Every company featured in this video already makes a cleaner product. They reformulate for Europe because European regulators require it. They don't reformulate for America because American regulators don't. The US system operates on a principle called GRAS, generally recognized as safe, which allows companies to self-certify that their own ingredients are harmless, often without notifying the FDA at all. Nearly 99% of new chemicals introduced to the US food supply between 2000 and 2021 came through this process, according to the Environmental Working Group. Europe defaults to restriction when scientific uncertainty exists. The US defaults to permission. That difference is what you are tasting. What you can do, read the ingredient label before the nutrition label. Look for BHT, BHA, red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, and potassium bromate. If you buy dairy, choose labels that say, "From cows not treated with RBST." These companies already know how to make food without these ingredients. They do it every day, just not for you.